Okay, it's Sunday, which means against my better judgment, it's time to go to Reddit and see what questions we can find in the hive of scum and villainy. So this was something interesting earlier. It was, I don't know who read it, but a comment yesterday about playing against Ryan as Ryan. The comment said to count to 8 after you see the opposing Ryan fire strike. At that 8 count, chances of Reinhardt throwing another fire strike, another earth shatter, are really high. Well, today in a game I'm holding shatter, see the fire strike, count 8, Ryan throws another fire strike, and I shout at the team. It worked. Makes sense. I've never thought about it that way, but it seems as if that should work quite reliably, actually. But further testing required. Makes sense. Cool. Good job, Reddit. You did good for once. How to avoid meteor strike as Ana or Zenyatta. This method has been extremely useful. What is this method? Is it just to, like, rotate around the wall by any chance? It looks like that's basically the gist. Then the second you see the red ring, you move to the left side behind the wall. Yeah, That's about all you can do, really, is just try and skirt the wall and then walk around the corner when you see it, because slow people can't move that fast. Went to Bronze Diamond as an anime, and long guide of what I learned during my journey. So what do you reckon's gonna be in there? There's gotta be something to the effect of, like, don't tilt, take responsibility for your own mistakes, don't blame other people. There's gotta be at least something in there related to hero pool, right? Here's the cat. Oh, here we go. Working on your mental. Stopping the toxicity. Yeah, there we go. See? I've seen these before. Growing the will to be better. Picking a main. Yo, my dudes. Can you not? Alright. Picking a main. You know, I'm prepared to count that as being me being right. Understanding your strength. Yeah, Going beyond the basics. Being clutch regularly. That's not really how clutch works, I don't think, but, you know. What are you doing? This cat. No, Reinhardt's barrier isn't actually slower to deploy now, proof inside. I knew this to be true. Everybody's been crazy. My friend said this the other day. I told her she was crazy. People crazy. Just placebo affected yourselves into thinking shit. I like reaction blocked an earth shatter earlier today. It ain't slower. Why did I only gain 2 SR for a win in comp? And so it has to be like your MMR is really fucked up, or something in the game happened, like your MMR is really fucked up, or like 3 people on the enemy team left. I think the lever's calculated. I don't know. I've not really been in many games where like 3 people have left on the enemy team. It seems pretty fucked up. Or, I mean, you know, there's the other alternative, right? It could just be that the game fucked up and just gave you the wrong amount. So I finally achieved 900 from... Here are some basic tips. Alright, so what do you reckon's gotta be in here, right? It's gotta be, like, mentality again, right? And, like, team comp. Well, like, hero pool, not team comp. You know, these are the old-time classics. They've gotta be in there. If you lose 2 consecutive games, take a break. Don't complain and don't sour. Become confident. Oh, look at that. He's so good. He's so good at predicting them. I'm not really talking shit on the person for, like, giving the advice. It's just, like, it's just so very, like, everything you see that says something to this always says basically the same thing within it. No, we don't want to go into the fucking thread. Get out of here. I'm not really talking shit on the person, it's just like, you see it all the time. Hero audio level balance. Has there been any word from the audio team on when we'll get a balance pass for the character audio levels? Hanzo and Symmetra are way too quiet for how deadly they have become. Disagree. Hanzo doesn't really make a lot of noise. I'll give you Hanzo, but, like, at the same time, he has a fucking bow and arrow. You know? Like, his ult should probably be, like, a little bit louder, though. I've been stuck in plat for, like, forever. Is there, like, anything I can do? I mean... I have 4 characters I'm best at. Fire, Soldier, Roadhog, Zen. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for you. I've uploaded countless VoDs. I feel like if I would be Diamond, I would have good performances there. Sadly, the highest I've been is... I mean, that's pretty high, honestly. The average is like, what? Gold? You know? It's not that bad. I mean, like, the thing is, it just, climbing takes a while. That means plat for 9 seasons, counting season 4 and 12. I was playing every day with no luck, then I started playing less. Now I'm playing it, like, every 3 days. I mean, you're not exactly playing a lot, then, at this point, you know? Climbing takes a while. It's grindy. That's just how it is. A lot of people get, like, really down about, like... I'm clicking on the wrong fucking screen now. I'm clicking on the fucking OBS window rather than over here. A lot of people get down about, like, what their SR is, because, like, they just attach that number to their fucking soul as their worth as a human being. Whereas, like, the way you should actually look at SR is not necessarily a representation of your skill, just more your progress up the ladder that you're currently in. Like, whatever game you're playing, you know, in this game we use SR, so, like, your SR isn't necessarily a representation of your skill, it marks your progress up the ladder. You know, if you're playing any other game, find and replace SR with whatever that game uses, ELO, league points, whatever the fuck. Random feelings of low confidence overtake me. Such is life. Way before above. I have this negative... Even though Anna's my main, playing her just puts this huge burden on my soldiers since I have to almost always be on high alert while being effective healer for my team. I still love playing her, but when I have this negative feeling, I just play. I just go Mercy Moira. It's similar to the inconsistency problems that a lot of people have. Mine has a lot to do with mentality. I mean, if you like playing the hero, just play the hero. Which, I mean, you know, like... Perhaps not the most helpful advice in the world, but, like... You just gotta try and not be so down about it. If you like playing the hero, just play the hero. You're not always gonna do well. Especially on a hero like Anna, that's relatively high on the execute. Like, you have to be pretty good mechanically, and then there's also still the, like, game sense attachment to it as well, of being a healer. So, like, you know, life is hard, you're not always gonna do great. You just kind of have to try and not let you get that down. Which, how you do that varies from person to person. I just kind of don't give a shit, because at the end of the day, it's a video game. I'm not really prone to being super upset about video games, really. Occasionally, but, like, I'm mostly just like, lost, whatever, such is life. Maybe we won't win the next game, maybe we'll win the next game. Who knows? We'll find out. It's not, I just don't think it's worth getting upset about, but, like, I realize that's also easier said than done. You know? Yo, Cat. What are you doing? What are you doing, you clown? Let's see, what else we got? What heroes... Oh, wait, no. How is it that people are able to climb so easily? I still feel incredibly useless in my attempts to improve. Basically, mostly plat. I assume you mean mostly play Mercy, Moira, Diva, Bridge, and Pharah. My profile, but I know I'm shit. Dropped into gold again. I mean, that's the average, you know. I'm not gonna blame my team, but I'm bad enough at the game that I can't carry and I need help improving. I mean, you know, like, what a not super helpful post for help for that one. Again, you know, climbing takes time. I don't think, like, you know, people got the fucked up idea. What are you doing? People got a fucked up idea on how climbing works, because climbing is actually extremely slow and laborious for most people. What are you doing? Is extremely slow and laborious for most people. Like, if you watch, like, the streamers and the professional players, you know, yeah, they fucking zip up the ladder, because they're fucking good at the video game, right? That's not most people's experiences. Climbing the ladder for most people is gonna be a grind. It's a grind for me. It's a grind for almost everybody. Because Overwatch as a game is not really one that you can hard carry super easily, especially if you play more supportive characters. Pharah's not supportive, you get the idea though. Like, it takes time. It's grindy. Look at this boy. It's grindy. Takes time. You gotta work at it. You can't really like hard carry in this game super easily because it's very team based. You know, if you're playing like a MOBA, if you're playing League of Legends, if you can just beat the shit out of the other laner, then buy 6 Infinity Edges and you win because you have more stats than their entire team combined. No problem. Overwatch doesn't work that way. Your soldier is exactly the same as that soldier, so unless your soldier is like dramatically better than the entire rest of the game, the entire rest of the enemy team, he ain't gonna hard carry, right? You know, you just gotta be able to play well consistently, and over time, you'll climb. It's not a fast process. Which hero should I try and learn? It's split between Soldier versus Junkrat. And he has insane potential. The learning curve on him is a bit wonky. I don't think that's really true. I get why you say that, but I don't think it's that much of a big deal, really. Soldier is a bit more smooth to learn and much more versatile, allowing me to play him in a lot. I feel like Junkrat's pretty versatile, honestly. There aren't many circumstances in which Junkrat is just like a bad pick. You know, if they got a Pharah, that can be bad for you, but like, you know, it's not even like, you know, you see a Pharah, you have to change off Junkrat. So I don't feel like there's much difference versatility-wise, honestly. I feel like Junkrat fits in most circumstances still. But I have much less playtime on him, meaning I'll have to sink a bit more time into him. I mean, what SR are we in for this one? You know, like, Mercy, don't play Mercy if you're like below gold, basically. This is the hardest one. I haven't synced a ton of time into either character, and I feel like I'll need a bit more practice. And Reinhardt is good in... I don't think Winston's right now is a bit weak. I think he's still fine. Reinhardt just, like, really good hero. Fits on most any team, really, because... like, he is the quintessential main tank, isn't he? You know? So the simple answer is just whichever one you fucking like. You know? But I would say Soldier, mostly just because I like Soldier more than I like Junkrat. Zenyatta, if you're below gold, 100%. Mercy, if you're above gold, then Mercy becomes fine to pick, you know? Or gold and above, I should say. Because Mercy requires her team to actually, like, be somewhat competent. You won't get that below gold. But, you know... And then Reinhardt, I think, is like undisputed better one to get better hero to get better at. What a fucked up sentence, Jesus Christ. He's better than Winston. Because he's the main tank of the game. Winston is not the main tank of the game. Winston is a main tank. People, you know, seen a lot of people say that Winston isn't a main tank. There's been a great many times where we've had a Winston on our team, and the team's been like, can we get a main tank? I'm like, Winston is a main tank. What you want is a shield tank. We have a main tank. You just don't like the main tank that we have right now. Here he goes again. There he goes. Took him like 20 minutes to settle, and then he immediately leaves again. Bap, 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 bap. So I feel like the clear next tip for making my Mei a hard carry is hitting right clicks like McCree shots. Anyone have any tips for this projectile? So the projectile itself is like pretty fucking fast. It just has the long delay on the start, so you have to account more for the delay at the start more than you do for the actual shot itself, because the projectile is pretty fast as far as projectiles go. So it's more about getting used to like the shot. It's more getting used to the shot firing, like, half a second later than when you click the button than anything else, I would say. But, like, at the same time, I don't know that that necessarily affects much, because at the same time, if you're playing a projectile hero, you still have to compensate for just the travel time. Effectively, the delay is still compensating for travel time. So, really just, like, play the hero a lot. There we go. He did it. Good job, team. Good job. I play Widow, Zarya, Tracer, I have no problems with my mechanics, and would consider myself better than average mechanical-wise on those heroes for my rank. There, you know, a lot of people consider themselves to be slightly above average, but, you know, there's only one problem. When watching streamers like Defran or Kepri... Kabji? Kabji? I don't even know who Kabji is. I know, my mind just saw the K and automatically auto-completed it to Kefri. I noticed that their aim is much faster than mine, almost snapping onto their targets. This happens even after 180 blinks, blah blah blah. I would wager their sensitivity is not exactly dramatically higher. We can probably find out with some, you know, like Overwatch pro players set auto-completed onto settings. Look at that. Look at that. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you that this doesn't matter that much, but I kind of just want to prove it by saying that their sensitivity isn't going to be dramatically different to yours. So who did we specifically say? We specifically said Defran and Kabji. So, Defran is not on this list. Okay. Nope, not on this list either. Fantastic. Alright. So, let's just instead find some DPS players, right? And let's look at what we got. So, we got Taimu on here. Sensitivity 5. DPI 4000. AKM, sensitivity 2. DPI 3600. Who else we got? What other names do I recognize on here? TivQ 756 DPI. You know. Clockwork 6 sensitivity 4800 DPI. You know, this Kabji is on here. Fucking Control F didn't work. Yeah, Kabji sensitivity 4 DPI 3200. So, is Defran also on here then? Which is, just totally fucking lied to me. Alphabetically. Yeah, Defran is also on here. Oh, Defran's up there in the 12 sensitivity. Ooh. My goodness. Is he the only one on here that's got fucking double-digit sensitivity? Oh, no, Joe Meister's got an 11. Miro's got a... Miro plays fucking Winston, though, doesn't he? Miro's up on 10. Oh, fucking Pine's got 15! The absolute madman. Jesus Christ. Who's got the highest? Sort by highest sensitivity. Yo, who the fuck's got a 0 sensitivity? This just has to be... Okay, it's just they haven't got their stats entered. I was like, who the fuck has got a 0? The lowest one for the record is Daya, who has 1.56 sensitivity. The highest is Hoxel, who is at fucking 31.7. Jesus Christ. Gaguri is at 19. Mnog, 18. And then Pine, 15, blah, 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 blah. So, whatever. Anyway, so, yeah, Defran is dramatically higher. Kabji is, like, the same. Kabji was lower, wasn't he? Wasn't he 4? Now the fucking... Okay, so where the fuck have you gone to? Because I sort by fucking alphabetical, and then I go down, and he's not fucking here suddenly. Oh my god. Life is so difficult. Sort by DPS. The whole moral of this is don't fucking worry about it. What's Seagull? Seagull's 2.36. Alright, enough of this foolishness. Enough of this foolishness. Jesus Christ. Just watching a man look at a fucking spreadsheet on a different window right now. So, anyway. It's not, this isn't an issue. Don't worry about that. It's just mostly like if we're talking about like even after 180 blinks, that's just because there's more of a mental process going on there that you have to like, you know where you're going and you know where you're aiming afterwards, so your hand just like knows how to do that, you know? Like, it's a matter of, like, just being used to playing. So it makes me feel sluggish. Like, it's not the issue. It's not the issue, it's just getting comfortable playing the game. Like, if we're talking about blinks specifically, Jesus Christ, it's a matter of, like, knowing where you're gonna end up and knowing where you're aiming afterwards, and then being able to, like, process that in the moment and then, like, snap to it. There's also the fact that some people are better at snapping than they are at, like, tracking and stuff like that. I'm better at snapping than I am at tracking. Like, yeah. So don't worry about your sensitivity so much. Just play the fucking game and you'll get used to it and you'll get better at it. I don't understand this game. I've gone from gold to GM to plat to GM again, and I'm about to hit plat in 2 more losses. It doesn't matter what I do on my 30+ loss streaks. You play healers and still have gold of limbs, damage, and healing. I mean, if you're playing a healer, why are you worried so much about those medals? It's like if you're playing a healer and constantly ended up with gold limbs and damage, maybe you're not healing as well. Healing as well. It's not that hard to get gold healing as, like, Moira, just ambiently, right? Like, if you are, if you're the main healer, you'll have gold healing. Well, yeah, almost regardless of how much damage you're doing. Maybe worry about playing a healer before you worry about your damage medals. Yeah, it's just a theory I got going there. Maybe, maybe tilt less. Maybe, once you start losing, maybe don't keep, like, grinding it out, because that probably also happens. Like, losing streaks happen, that sucks. 30+ is a bit on the egregious side. I have to imagine that starts becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy at some point. Maybe, check to see if you're the problem before worrying about anything else, really. Torbjorn, what is wrong with him? Why he deserves our love, how to play with him, and his upcoming rework. He has so much goddamn downtime. I think the reason he's one of the least picked heroes in Overwatch is because of the extreme amount of e-bullying you will receive for picking Torbjorn. Does a lot more damage than his turret. This is true, yes. People do over-prioritize the turret. Like, when you see the dude in fucking Molten Core just sitting there failing to build a turret for the full fucking 12 seconds, like that, like, just go out there and shoot them. Fucking Fire Dwarf is scary as fuck. From meta to meta, he's played incorrectly. He's seen as a burden on teamwork without proper playoff. He is criminally misunderstood, and no one seems to want him to put in the time to critically think as to why. Like, I just also want you to know that that's never going to come off of him. Unless the rework makes him just disgustingly overpowered. He's always gonna have, like, this whole thing attached to him for the rest of time now. Symmetra's, like, pretty alright now, but, like, she still has the issue attached to her. Sombra's been alright for a really long time, but she has the stigma attached to her. Once the stigma is attached to the hero, it's very difficult to get it off. Orisa managed to get it off of her. Orisa had that stigma attached to her for a long time as well, but she managed to shake that one off of her eventually. Anna very briefly had the stigma attached to her, and I do mean for like a week, right after she came out. There was, she had the stigma attached to her, but then people figured out that Anna was actually ridiculously overpowered, and then that overshadowed that stigma at that point. It's very hard to get that kind of thing off of you once it's been attached. Sombra hasn't managed to do it for, what, like 10 seasons Sombra's been in the game at this point? Like, it's, you know, it's an issue. Just got the time from a friend from, the people, oh, Jesus Christ. The people I was playing with were telling me I was crazy, but I honestly prefer Reaper over most of them. And I just use I like Reaper. That said, are there any tips, tricks for playing with Reaper? It already suits my playstyle of flanking and quick in-and-out gameplay. Anything else I should know? I fucking love Reaper. I think everybody's crazy. Fucking Reaper gets a lot of shit thrown at him. I fucking love Reaper. Reaper's always been one of my favorite heroes. I love him. So, the thing is basically the big thing with Reaper is just you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta have a plan, because Reaper's a really slow boy, right? He's a very slow, methodical hero. If you're playing someone like Tracer or Genji, you can kind of just like wing it. You can kind of go in without a firm plan of what you're doing, and then just kind of like, it'll work itself out because those heroes are so mobile and hard to kill. Reaper's not the same way. Reaper is slow, and he needs his cooldowns to get in and to get out as well. So you need to know what you're trying to do. You gotta plan it out, like, alright, I'm gonna teleport from here, where they can't see me, over to there, where they also can't see me. Then I'm gonna go around here, I'm gonna come up and try to kill this person. If I can't kill the person quickly, I'm just gonna wraith form back through over there. If I do kill the person, we'll see how that, we'll see how it goes, but I'll probably still wraith form back through to my team again. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta use your cooldowns to get in and get out. He's a slow hero. He's big and he's bulky, so like you gotta plan out what you're gonna do. He's a slow and methodical hero. So just like plan out what you're trying to do more than anything is like the biggest thing. Yeah, like all of the flankers benefit from having a plan when you're going in, but Reaper like requires a plan to really get anything done. Is calling better than playing well? I mean, you still need to know how to play the game. I have problems from neurological, psychological, psychiatric disorders, so I think really fast, like overwhelmingly fast. From this day, I keep trying to, okay. Track most cooldowns from our team, but more specifically theirs. My question is, too long didn't read. If my team is playing better because of my calls and I'm winning more, am I still hurting my hidden MMR and therefore ability to climb by focusing on making calls, creating ult combo opportunities for my team, and playing worse because of it? Like, okay, so here's the thing. If you're winning, who gives a shit? Right? People worry about their hidden MMR kind of to a weird amount as well. Like, if you're winning, you're climbing. It's kind of that simple. It's very difficult for your hidden MMR to have a drastic effect on what your climbing is like, right? Like, the easiest way to have it affect you is climb really high up, like climb to Masters, then decay down to 3000 SR, play a game, you win, you get 50 SR, because the system goes, well, you're actually like all the way up here, but you're all the way down here also, so we gotta try and get these two closer together as quickly as possible. Like, that's the easiest way to have your hidden MMR affect your SR. It's just like climb high, then decay. For most people, the hidden MMR is going to lead to a difference of like 5 SR max, like up or down, right? For most people. It's not going to be a drastic difference. It's going to be the difference of like 20 SR to 25 SR. Don't worry about it that much. Now, over a significantly long period of time, is this 5 SR difference going to matter? Probably, occasionally. It might be the difference between you climbing or falling by 1 game. But, like, if you're winning more games than you're losing, you will climb regardless of what your hidden MMR says. Because eventually it'll go, well, why are you up there if we think you're down there? Right? Like, it's, if you're winning more, you'll climb. If you're winning more than you're losing, don't worry about it that much. If this is working for you, and you're winning, that's all that matters. How should I run? Protect the President. From what perspective? I've been watching Denmark play a lot because I think they are a super versatile team, and I noticed they were running a Protect the President strategy a lot in CoF. I was wondering if anyone had any advice on how to run it with maps that are, and run it or maps that are really good or bad for it. With the so, yeah, okay. Mercy's M, Bridget Diva. Great. This is a very different comp to the one I was imagining, because to me, Protect the President is Bastion. So, this is very different to what I was envisioning. I mean, yeah, it's pretty it's pretty good for CoF maps, because, like, quick boys, and then, like lot of disruption. McCree is like, these people are all like doing damage in there ambiently, and then Zenyatta's making them do more damage, and then McCree is there to like finish kills, right? And then you got Mercy because she's good at healing, right? She's a very consistent healer. So, like, this is a comp that suits more chaotic sort of maps, like King of the Hill ones, because there's a lot of, like, ambient damage being thrown around. Like, it's a very chaotic-y kind of team. Very get in there and brawl it out kind of team composition. So, like, Koth maps make sense. What other maps would be good for it? Numbani after the first checkpoint. King of the Hill not King of the Hill, obviously King of the Hill maps. 2 CP maps, because it's basically also a dive comp. Hollywood. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. It's like a very, very King of the Hill map. Team comp, certainly. You know, whatever. Anyway. Pro keyboard question. I noticed a lot of players in... What the fuck is Overwatch World Championship play, I guess? With their keyboards drastically angled / not parallel to the edge of their tables. Aside from comfort, what advantage might this provide? Y'all worry about the weirdest fucking things. Y'all are seriously out here, like, how can I min-max the angle of my keyboard on the desk? Y'all worry about that. Just fucking get your microscopes out. Like, alright, what the fuck's Taimu doing over here that makes him a god? Let's see. I can't help but notice that his keyboard is skewed at a 36-degree angle. There must be a reason for this. Probably just because that's the way he fucking plays, isn't it? It's probably just that's how he's comfortable playing. Y'all worry about the weirdest motherfucking things. Holy shit. Fucking watching, like, why do they have their keyboards skewed? There must be some min-maxy reason for this. No, probably not. You know, maybe for some of them, but I'll wager that a lot of it's probably just, yeah, it's comfortable. I used to play with the keyboard in my lap, and there wasn't there's just that was comfortable. Like, there's no other reason. Y'all fucking swear. Is there a high-quality Wrecking Ball guide out yet? Maybe wait till, like, he's a better hero. Yeah. Some people have figured it out, certainly, but, it's not really been great. You could try watching Evil Toaster. Yeah. Maybe look at when you're pulling those huge, whatever. Who cares? Hound's not, like, fantastic. And a Zen main looking to pick up a DPS hero so I can flex. What's a reasonably intuitive alternative? Soldier 76. A lot of the positioning carries over. Very long range. And then these are 2, like, aim-dependent heroes. Very long range. Soldier's the obvious overlap. Sort of McCree, but he's, like, a lot more... He positions a lot more aggressively than Nano or Zenyatta does. So, like, Soldier is, like, more... Soldier's positioning is closer to the same positioning for these heroes. And then there's the aiming thing as well. Opinions on healers pocketing the Rhine. Since I've started playing Rhine a couple seasons ago, I finally climbed around and is good but not perfect at all. I feel as though when the main healer pockets me, I carry a lot of games and enables me to make space for the rest of my team. So, like, look, I don't want to come off as being confrontational or anything, but you're probably getting carried by the healers in those games. Like, from my experience playing Reinhardt, when the healer is pocketing me as Reinhardt, I'm probably not being a very good tank. I'm probably actually playing a lot closer to a DPS. So, you know, not to come off as being too confrontational or anything, but I think you might be playing like a DPS more than anything else. I hate playing Ryan conservatively because I feel useless in that shit. Look, playing Ryan's boring as hell. because, like, a lot of it is actually playing conservatively. You gotta know when it's time to take the shield down and start swinging. Like, there's always comes the point where you go, alright, now I go aggressive, right? But, like, 70% of Reinhardt is just standing there, holding the shield up, walking forwards, or walking backwards. Like, he's a short-range hero, you've got to actually get there. And when you get to an SR where people can kill you competently, right? Like, this is also the thing, is if they focus you correctly, doesn't matter if, like, the Mercy is, or the fucking Moira is trying to heal you, if they focus you correctly, you die regardless. So, you're probably getting fucking carried by your healers in those games, more than anything else, I would say. Obviously, I haven't seen the games, so I don't know with certainty, but, like, coming from my experience as Reinhardt, when the healer pockets me, I'm usually actually playing badly. So, anyway. Finally climbing out of silver. So lately I've been on my alt account, and I went back to my main, and I was up. Any tips for the last few games? Where should I position myself as Widow versus Ryan Zarya? Should I stay behind my main tank, or should I play a flank style? And I mean, Widow's not a flanker, really, but you know. I get the point. So an underappreciated aspect of Widow is the fact that she has a very threatening zone. She has a very dangerous zone of threat. That's a better way to phrase that sentence than what I was gonna say. So, yeah, an underappreciated aspect of Widow is positioning so that your zone of threat is as obnoxious to the enemy team as possible. Because you can't just stand out in the open versus a Widowmaker, right? Even if the Widow is bad, you still don't feel like you can sit out in front of the Widowmaker in open space, right? So, like, where you're standing affects where the enemy team is standing. So, you kind of want to find the angle that forces them into awkward positions as much as possible, while still staying safe. Don't fucking try and hookshot behind the enemy. Don't be fucking on Anubis like I'm gonna hookshot onto the fucking house behind them on the first checkpoint. Like, you know, within reason, right? Try and find the area where you're forcing them to position around you, so they're either, like, huddled up more than they want to be, or they have to stand in weird places to stay behind cover and out of your line of sight. And, like, that's just true blanketly. It doesn't really affect much. Like, versus Ryan Zarya, same concept. You're still trying to find the most obnoxious area to stand as possible. It's just they have a shield to stand behind, so it might take a little bit more creativity. I am a Symmetra Torbjorn. How can I avoid getting false reported? You can't. Like, you can't. You're gonna get reported a lot for playing those heroes. It's just how it is. Don't stir up shit. Like, those are the heroes more than any other where it behooves you to just not interact with your team. Because it almost doesn't matter what you say. They're gonna interpret it the worst way possible. So, like, honestly, just, like, don't interact with your team as much as possible. Because you're, like, they're already upset that you've picked those heroes, right? Especially if they're the kind of people that are going to report you just because you picked those heroes. So, like, interacting with those people is pointless. Because if they're going to report you just for picking the hero, there's nothing you can say to those people that's going to turn it around, right? If anything, it's more likely to just evolve into a pointless argument. So, like, just don't interact with those people as much as possible. And, like, just try and play well. You know, the only way you're gonna shut them up is if you fucking dominate the game, basically. So it's just like try and play well and don't interact with your team as much as possible. That's true if you're playing any hero that's likely to get false reported. Like if you're playing like Widowmaker, just don't talk to people, right? Just don't like talk to your team at all. Honestly, like, it's not worth it. They're already upset. Nothing you say is gonna make it better, right? Instead, just worry about you. Just play the game. Just shoot the enemy team, and just try and win, right? Because it also doesn't matter if your team thinks you your team thinks you through. if you won and you carried, the enemy team sure fucking knows it, right? If anything, they're like, if you play well, the enemy team will stick up for you. Because they always go report X. And if you were playing well, the other team's gonna go, X fucking carried you, scrubs. Right? And then, you know, like, just don't worry about it. Just, like, don't worry about those. Don't interact with them. Just play the game. Try and do well. And, like, you're gonna get false reported. It's gonna happen. But, like, provided you aren't, like, actually throwing, right? You aren't actually throwing and being toxic. It's unlikely you'll accrue enough reports for, like, significant action. Can happen. It does happen to people, but, like, it's relatively unlikely provided you're playing well and not, like, actually an asshole. First time playing ranked. What should I do, and what should I look out for in my placement matches? Don't worry about it. Just play the game, dude. How to dive if enemy is grouped up. Let's assume the enemy is running a Rein, Zarya, Mercy, Zen, Widow, and Junkrat. They're on defense. First point Anubis. Everyone is on the high ground near the choke point, except Widow, who is in the tall building next to the point. A very average example. So how do you dive that? So I'm just going to assume we've got, like, the most generic dive comp you possibly could have, which is going to be Winston, Diva, Genji, Tracer, Mercy, Zenyatta, right? So or we'll say Pharah instead of Tracer, right? So one of the tanks, at least, and Genji, should be trying to kill the Widowmaker. And the Widowmaker is off by herself, right? So, like, she's the obvious target. It's just a matter of getting to her. So, someone like, you know, Winston can just jump straight over the enemy team onto the Widowmaker, and then he's already taken her out of the game. Like, then she has to react to the Winston on her face, right? Mercy or Zenyatta is then gonna invest their time in trying to keep the Widowmaker alive. So at that point, the team has started splitting up, because the Widow was already off by herself. Mercy probably came over to try and heal the person, honestly. So, like, at that point, only 4 people are on the high ground at that point. So then you can try and, like, poke and prod at them. Their only other DPS is Junkrat, because Widowmaker's currently preoccupied with Winston and or Genji. So then, the rest of the team, because we got, like, Pharah on there as well. Like, the Junkrat's getting dunked on by Pharah, hopefully. She's doing big damage in the high ground point, right? So there's only 4 people in there. So then the other 4/5 people on our team, depending on if Genji's trying to kill Widowmaker as well, just focus on those people in there, and it's like an even or skewed fight in our favor. And because Widowmaker, the person that counters Pharah, is currently preoccupied with Winston and or Genji, they don't have anything really that can deal with Pharah except for Zenyatta. So it's just a matter of, like, Pharah poking and prodding at them, and then when everybody sees an opportunity, squish in on them, and hopefully Winston and or Genji kill the Widowmaker and the Mercy. Or, bare minimum, they're taking up a lot of fucking time, and then you go in on the rest of them. It's, like, mostly, like, you just try and, like, slowly push them apart from each other. Because Widow's already off by herself, so she's already easy to kill. Pressuring Widowmaker prompts a reaction from her teammates. One of the supports has to try and keep Widowmaker alive. One of the tanks as well, but, like, these 2 tanks can't get to that position. So it's just going to be one of the supports. It's probably going to be Mercy. Because Mercy's going to see the person in danger, and she's going to be like, I gotta try and keep that person alive. So then she's going to go off from the group. Suddenly main healer left the group, poke and prod at them with Pharah. Zenyatta's in there, he's not able to keep up. Mercy's still preoccupied. Poke, prod, and then see an opportunity, squish in on them. Try and pick off Zenyatta first, so then they're down to just Mercy, still preoccupied, hopefully. Maybe not by this point, but, like, it's already started. At that point, you've already started, like, chipping away at them, right? You dive the one, pull them apart from each other, poke and prod, alright, see an opportunity, dive in on them. Just because you're running a dive comp doesn't mean you have to go in immediately on the full group of people. Sometimes you have to spend time kind of, like, pushing them apart from each other, because just diving into 6 people is suicidal, right? If just Winston dives into 6 people, that's just suicide at that point. So, like, You either gotta coordinate the dive, or try and, like, drive people away from each other. Like, find the sheep off by themselves, away from the herd, kill that one. And then that makes the rest of them spread out, and at that point it becomes easier to dive on them. So I want to take about voice chat. I don't know what the tip is. On why to not join voice chat. Is this the... This is a reasonably long video. I don't want to watch the whole thing. And I know that people from time to time will tell me to switch, talk shit. This is 76, so I want to know about why not join voice chat. As you can see here, but I don't want my team to know that I'm not on voice chat, because then they think I don't give a damn. My question is it possible to mute everyone? This is a strat I support. So, here's what you do, right? Here's the secret. Most times, voice chat is a waste of time. Hardly anybody's speaking, and if they are, it's not actually productive regardless. Not always the case, mostly always the case. Here's what you do. In your settings, you turn the voice chat volume to 0, but you still set it to auto-join team chat. They think you're there. That's all that matters. They think you're there. I've had plenty of people be like, fucking talking shit that somebody's not in the team chat, but hey, in the team chat, no one's saying shit anyway. So being in the team chat's pointless, isn't it? No one's saying anything. What you want is somebody else to start saying shit, or you've placebo affected yourself into thinking that joining the team chat is the only fucking step in the process, right? Set team chat volume to 0. Set to auto join. No one will ever know. Team chat's a waste of time. Don't worry about it. How to deal with Doomfist as Anna Zem. Well, we had the thing earlier, didn't we? With the ultimate. I really struggle staying alive against Dooms. I hit my sleep or I die. That's kind of how it is. Doesn't matter if I net. Yeah, like, it's true. No, like that's your whole process, Anna. Like, basically, like, I know it sucks, but like, you kind of need your team to help you. That's the whole process. You try and trank him. If you don't, you need help, because he's gonna kill you. That's how it is. Just any... Yeah, like, Doomfist was really fucking annoying. I hate Doomfist. I'm playing Bridget and I'm fucking aggravated by fucking Doomfist. He's just really fucking annoying hero to play against. Cause it... Some heroes just actually can't do much if Doomfist starts killing them, right? Like, some heroes, like Anna and Zenyatta, just kind of need help with Doomfist. That's just kind of how it is. They don't really possess the skills to deal with Doomfist by themselves. Even heroes that do have the skills to deal with Doomfist can't necessarily always do it by themselves. Like, McCree, theoretically, is good against Doomfist. But, like, sometimes, like, a lot of the time, just the McCree is still not enough. It still actually requires 2 people to kill Doomfist, because he's just annoyingly difficult to kill, especially, like, if he's already hit somebody, right? Like, if Doomfist gets the drop on you and he starts building up some of the shield, it's really hard to kill that dude. Like, it's very difficult to kill that man. It usually takes multiple people to deal with Doomfist. And if you're playing someone like Anna or Zenyatta, like, if you're Anna, all you can do is try and trank the dude. If that doesn't work, you need people to help you. This is how it is. You know, all you can do is, like, be really vigilant. That's, like, the only, like, try and be aware of where the fuck he is at all points in time. Like, that's the only other thing you can really do. You know, Doomfist's fucking annoying. I hate Doomfist. With tunnel vision when shooting. When I start shooting, I have a lot of trouble tracking the enemy. Playing Tracer. Once bullets start flying, you just tunnel vision problem in general. I never look at the kill feed or much paying attention to my teammates. So, I mean, basically, you just have to, like, be really cognizant of what you're doing and just remind yourself to look around the screen frequently. And, like, if you just, like, force yourself to do it enough times, you'll eventually just become habit. You won't have to keep worrying about it so much after a point. It'll just become second nature. But the learning period, like, you just have to spend a lot of time just, like, being really aware of what you're doing and just telling yourself to look around the screen. What you could do is, yeah, there's plenty of websites out there that'll let you just, like, set up a metronome. You could set up a metronome to tone every few seconds, and then every time you hear it, you look around the screen. And then, eventually, you won't need the metronome. It'll just, you'll just do it because it's become force of habit at that point. Like, you basically just have to be really aware of what you're doing and force yourself to look around a while. And, like, you know, setting up, like, a metronome can help you try and, like, remind you to do it. But, like, you just kind of have to force yourself to look around the screen a lot, and then eventually you'll just do it without thinking about it. What is report worthy and what is not? Should we report so the first time someone is acting close, be it flaming via chat or screaming into the mic? I mean, like, you know, if it's one outburst, it's kind of not the end of the world, but if they're just kind of continuously being a cunt, report them. They were not DCing but quitting the match willingly, yeah, report them. Can you report people that are quitting after the initial lever? See, that's a kind of a gray area at that point, because, like, I start giving up after the initial lever DC. So maybe maybe that's just built-in bias, but, like, usually people are just gonna leave after the 2 minutes anyway. If the person comes back and then people are still quitting, certainly, but, like, I said it's a bit more of a gray area on that one. Like, yeah. Can you report people that try to get others reported because they don't like their pick? If they're clearly just trying to drum up false reports, then yes. If they're trying to get people to report someone who deserves to be reported, then no. But if they're, like, clearly just trying to get the dude reported because they don't like him or whatever, then yeah. You know, if they're trying to get false reports in on people, yeah. If they're trying to get them on a legitimate reason, then no. For not necessarily being unfriendly, but by constantly dragging the team down with overall negative comments and commenting when someone dies. At that point, I think you're starting to be a cunt. So yeah, don't be a cunt is the moral of the story. For not speaking English when no one else seems to speak their language in the first... I mean, no. They're screaming things... Okay, so if they're screaming shit, okay. Because at that point, again, they're clearly being a cunt, right? Here's the really simple answer. If they're being a cunt, one way or the other, report them. If they're not being a cunt, don't report them. There you go. Crucial improvements for platinum rank and lower. Use corners and walls for cover. I actually don't see that one that frequently. Good job. Harukaze325. Good job. That's an unusual one. Good job. If you are 2-3 players, press W and stagger the enemy team. Yes. Though don't go too far. Do not do nothing during downtime. Do not stand on the payload or stay on control in position for the next fight. Yeah, there's usually something you can be doing with your time. Just try and minimize downtime, I think, is like you can't, like, sometimes there's nothing you can actually do. It's just, I would say, instead of saying do not do nothing during downtime, I would say try to minimize downtime. The word, like, you know, slightly different wording. Awful at the game. Bummed out about lack of improvement. Looking for advice. Like, I can only answer the same question so many times in so many different... Like, there's only so many ways I can phrase shit's hard, Captain. You know? Weren't random bridge bugs supposed to be fixed in this patch? The camera still goes crazy. Yeah, and that still happens occasionally. Is game losing? I've never lost a game because of that. I've just been annoyed by it. Right, look. Reinhardt's so much better this patch, okay? Get your fucking complaining out of here. He is so much better than he was a patch ago. Like, it is dramatically better. The camera bug is like, it still happens, yeah, is not the end of the world. Shockingly, if I hold my shield up against the other Earth Shatter, It blocks it. I know, it doesn't just go underneath. And you know also, if I Earth Shatter near a corner, the Earth Shatter still hits people on the enemy team. I know. Isn't that crazy to think about? If I ult on a staircase, it goes up the staircase and down the staircase. If you can believe it. Like, if you can fucking believe it. A simple yet effective tip for Rhine mains. When the enemy Rhine fire strikes and you have Shatter... this is the... We saw this earlier, didn't we? The follow-up to that. Yeah. Oh, it makes sense. A whole dissertation. Yeah. That is basically exactly... Yeah. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Basically plotted out that track in my head. Is this boosting? A friend of mine. I swear it's not me. Asking for a friend. Started this season to play comp with a friend of his. He was high gold for his whole career. Started playing meh. It's peaked to around 3,700 SR. Now she doesn't play on that account anymore, and the account she plays on flows around, blah blah blah. She now plays level footing. I mean, it's not really like, okay. It could be boosting, but if you're just playing with your friend, you're playing with your friend. Right? I play with my friends on an alternate account as well. I don't really consider it to be boosting. Mostly because no boosting actually happens, because both I'm bad and they're bad. So, not much boosting actually happens. Like, if you want to play with your friends, fucking play with your friends. Don't worry about it that much. The only reason, like, if you're worried about it being, like, flagged as boosting, like, it's like really obvious examples of boosting get flagged, right? Where it's like, you're down here on the chart, right? Let's draw the chart, right? You're like down here at like bronze, and then suddenly they say, shh, shh, you probably got boosted, right? So it's like shit like that gets flagged as boosting. Oh, bronze, 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 bronze. Oh, masters. Oh, shit. That's very sudden, isn't it? Damn. Over like a 2-day period? Fuck, that's a very dramatic improvement. So if that's the issue, don't worry about it. Any suggestions on heroes with an overly steep learning curve? What can I do to increase survivability? Like that, like, so basically positioning is like the answer to that one, but that's such a long, and like, we've already been here for an hour, so I'm gonna kind of like, I'm gonna save on answering that one, because that could turn into like a whole 30-minute thing. But broadly, the best thing you can do is worry about your positioning to increase survivability. Any suggestions on heroes without an overly steep curving? Well, what do you mean? So you want heroes that don't have a steep learning curve? On heroes without an overly steep... So yeah, like Soldier doesn't have a super steep learning curve. Winston doesn't have a super steep learning curve. Reinhardt's is deceptively steep, but I would still say Reinhardt is not, like, super steep. Moira is pretty easy. Bridget's pretty easy. DPS... What DPS? Junkrat... Junkrat has a really high skill ceiling, but his learning curve, I think, is, like, relatively tame still. Though he does have, like, a really high upper limit on skill. Who else? What other DPS? Reaper doesn't have an overly steep learning curve. Mei. I would say Pharah doesn't really have a steep learning curve. It's mostly just worrying about cover in the third dimension is the biggest thing. Tanks, Winston, Reinhardt. Both of their learning curves are deceptively high, but like still not super high. I want to say Roadhog, but like honestly, Roadhog's so fucking bad at this point. Like, you know, so the one's like a thing. I assume that's the end. Heroes without an overly steep learning curve. It has to be like examples of, right? How to get better if should I still play her without Mercy? You can play her without Mercy, but I highly recommend having a Mercy. The thing is, it's just Pharah is so much worse without a Mercy that, like, I find it difficult to justify picking her. Try to at least have a Zenyatta on your team. If it's like Moira, Lucio are your healers, don't pick Pharah, because they can't heal you. Like, you can, but you should really highly consider not if you don't have a Mercy. Maybe just pick Junkrat instead. What else? We got anything else? Okay. Let me prove it. I don't care. I don't care. Can't get a consistent win rate. What do I do? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm coming from League of Legends, where the mentality for climbing is the fact that you're 1 out of 5 on your team. If you do good every game, given it's 50-50 whether your teammates are good, you should get a win rate of 60%. That's not, like, okay. You sort of construed it a little bit differently, because it's unlikely to come out to a win rate of 60% exactly. Given an infinitely large sample size, it should eventually even out kind of like that, but it's just that because you have a player on your team that is playing well consistently, there's less people on your team that can be playing badly. So, statistically, you have a higher chance of winning than the enemy team, because they have 6 people that can do badly, you have 5 people that can do badly. That's still true. It doesn't necessarily shake out that you're going to have a 60% win ratio. It just means that you do have you should statistically have a higher chance of winning than the enemy team if you play consistently well. It doesn't necessarily come out to be like you get a win rate of 60%. It's just you have a higher chance of winning than the enemy team. The higher chance might be 1%. Most people climb with a win rate of like 51, 53%, you know, like somewhere in that region. If you got a win rate of, if you actually have a win rate of 60%, you're really fucking good. You're really fucking good. So, like, it's right idea, but taken a little bit too far on the extreme end. So, anyway. Whenever we still end up losing, I usually don't play Hawk. I don't want to harsh your groove too much, but like maybe don't play Roadhog. It's like body block, improve accuracy. Like that's all you can do with Roadhog. Yeah, this is the thing with Mei, is she's good at killing people, she's not good at doing damage, so that's like what you would expect to see. Because killing people and doing damage are not necessarily the same thing. They can be, but they aren't necessarily. Just play Hanzo more. There we go. Did it. Good job. Is just get a DPS smurf a sustainable solution for Overwatch? What else are you going to say? What else are you going to say to people? Right? The system rewards the most selfish player. Like, look. What are you gonna do? Like, what else can you do? How are you going to incentivize this? How are you going to create a system that incentivizes people to play heroes they don't know how to play? This is not going to happen. People look at their SR, they don't want their SR to go down. So they're not going to pick heroes that they aren't confident they can play on their main account. They're just going to get another account. What are you going to do? You're going to put some kind of system in place that, like, if you play the hero that you have the lowest % time played on and you lose, you just don't lose any SR? Like, that's fucking stupid, isn't it? Like, what are you going to do? People don't want their main account to drop, which is likely to happen if they pick heroes they don't know how to play. So, what are they going to do? They're going to get another account so they can play in competitive without having to worry about it, right? Because the other alternative solution is like, you have to put stricter requirements on the other game modes, right? Like, because the issue is, people say, oh, go play quick play and all that. Quick play doesn't teach you shit, right? Like, you have to actually play competitive to get better at the hero at the end of the day, right? The other modes can only get you so far. You have to play competitive at the end of the day to actually see significant improvement. So, like, the only other solution, the only real solution is put harsher restrictions on the other game modes. They won't do that. They aren't going to put stricter requirements on quick play. Maybe they introduce another mode that's somewhere in between quick play and competitive, but then how do you incentivize people to play that? Because they still need to have a reason to actually play that mode outside of they want to learn how to play the hero, right? Because this mode, this hypothetical mode, will not have that many players, right? Because it's like what? It's like basically competitive without any actual SR attached to it at the end of the day, right? What incentive do they have to play that? To play that mode, right? There is no incentive to play that mode other than just, I want to get good at the hero. But yet you then also still have to put like strict requirements on it, because if there's no SR attached to it, people are going to be inclined to fuck around in the mode if they do play it, right? Because whatever, right? I'm not being graded for this. So you have to actually, like, punish people in that mode for fucking around. But they won't do that, will they? So, like, there's going to be no incentive. It's basically just going to be quick play with the competitive rule set, but no SR attached to it. So people are still going to fuck around unless it has harsh penalties for people fucking around, which they won't do, because this is the practice mode. So they're not going to start banning people out of the practice mode for fucking around, are they? Because that's part of the point, isn't it? So what do you do? What do you do? If you got a solution to that problem, tell me. Like, because I don't see a solution. Like, I've seen some solutions thrown around, but like they ultimately all come down to put stricter requirements on quick play, they won't do that, or introduce a third mode. But then, how do you get people to do that and not fuck around? That's the problem. So I don't think that there is another solution, really. Is it a sustainable solution? I mean, yes. First off, it is a sustainable solution. The thing is just that, like, it's just like buy the game a second time, isn't it, if you're a PC player, right? Console players don't have to worry about it so much, but like, if you're a PC player, it's like buy the game a second time. Like, I don't think there's another solution, other than to fundamentally change how human beings are, which, you know, people have been trying that one for a while, it hasn't really worked out. So, fuck, that's a long video. Thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. And I hope you found the video helpful.